Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today, the whole review is going to be about these two power tools and why I bought this one, which is a 3/8 DeWalt cordless drill. And this one here is a perfectly good Milwaukee 3/8 cordless drill. Now, they're not identical, but they do the exact same thing. Today I'm going to explain why I'm switching completely over to DeWalt. No more Milwaukee. And I'm going to show some of my DeWalt tools. I'll show what I got left of the Milwaukee. And the reason why I decided, you know what, I got to go with DeWalt. And this here, like all of my Milwaukee stuff, will be going up to my camp up in Northern Ontario. And these will just be used for backup stuff. So let's go over to the bench and I'll explain to you why I bought this and why I'm getting rid of these. Well, first off, let's just take a quick look. And you can obviously tell this is my 1/2 inch. And for most people that do any type of work at all, know that you got to have a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 because, well, the 3/8 is a lot better to work around in closer spaces. Plus it has a smaller chuck as well for, well, let's just take a look here. Yeah, for smaller bits like this. And that's the majority. All the bits I use are within this range up to like maybe 5/16 at the most. And my 1/2 inch, well, it moves up to the larger bits. But generally, yeah, you got to have a 1/2 inch and a 3/8. So I bought this one here. Now this was $104 I bought at Home Depot. And it come with 2 batteries. And it came with the charger. And the one thing I like about DeWalt that Milwaukee does not offer is my DeWalt tools, all of them are 20 volt except this. This is a 12. Now, the thing I like about their chargers is I can charge this for 20 volt or I can use it for 12. But the batteries themselves, no, they're not interchangeable. So I got this little bit of a clip that you put on the side of the tool for, I guess, if you're going to attach it to your belt or your tool pouch or something. And it came with a bag. And there's the box. And, you know, let me see if I can see here. Well, I don't know what language they're in here, but yeah, they got a lot of languages going on. But that's the model right there. And this was $104. So, let's just take a look at just the reason why I will not buy any more Milwaukee. And the main reason is, first of all, the batteries you can't charge. You have to have independent chargers. If you go from 12 volt, like this one here for Milwaukee, and you want to go, say, to their 18 series or higher voltage, you have to get different chargers. And of course, it's cost, right? So let's just take a look at this one here. This particular unit here, see how it shows all the, you know, you can see how many bars are lit up? Well, what happens after about maybe 5 years? Well, these batteries start to deteriorate to the point where I can get, like, I'm lucky, maybe 20 minutes worth of work time, and the batteries will just, you know, the indicator lights will go down and down and down and down until I have to change the battery because, you know, no battery, I don't care what brand it is, after about 5 years they start going down and you have to get a new battery. So I thought about, you know what, maybe I'll just go get a new battery. But I don't like this style of battery here, the 12 volt like this, because so many times, you know, uneven surface, well, it falls over. That's why I like this style of battery, a nice flat battery. But when it came down to me having to purchase, you know, a new battery for this unit, because this works perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And this is about, I would say, 12 years old, this unit here. Is just this battery was more than half the price of this kit that came with the drill, 2 batteries, a charger, a clip, and a bag. So what's the idea behind them selling power tools today? It seems to me like, well, They're just not interested in selling you a battery because they make it so cost prohibitive to actually buy a battery. Now I'll show you another unit I have here. Now I don't believe DeWalt has anything that compares with this, but this is the Milwaukee ratchet. I think it's terrific, and I purchased this one separately because imagine putting this one here on the bottom here, and every time you put down the ratchet it falls over, right? So I didn't like that, so I bought this battery. Now could you imagine, I looked online, this battery that looks quite similar to this stand-up battery like this here on DeWalt, this battery was more than this whole kit. And this is the idea behind, I guess, a lot of these power tool companies is they'll give you the tools for next to nothing, but I think they're making the money on the batteries because today, well, you're far better off to buy a kit that has a whole bunch of tools and batteries at once, if you can afford it, than buying them one at a time. Or if you say, for instance, they have kits where you can just get the tool itself. Now, for me, just to buy this tool itself is 3/4 the price of the whole kit. And then if I try to buy the 2 batteries, the charger, and the bag, now we're into twice the price of this tool buying it independently. So the whole idea behind, I think, their marketing is to get you to spend more. You're going to get more, but if you can see how if you spend less, unless you have a whole bunch of batteries and chargers and a previous kit in the past, it's cost prohibitive to just go out and build your tools up a bit at a time, because you'll pay probably 4 times the price instead of just buying a kit like they want you to buy and spend 4 times more. So that's the whole idea behind the power tools. But I'll show you the DeWalt tools that I have so far. And for Milwaukee, all I have is this, and I'll show you this here. This flashlight. Now I bought this flashlight, has to be so many years ago, and it came in a kit with a reciprocating saw. And I will be honest with you, this thing is like not very good. It doesn't compete at all with the DeWalt. I'll show you the DeWalt. And when it comes to everybody deciding on getting a Milwaukee or getting a DeWalt, well, I haven't seen a DeWalt come out with a half decent or even any, cordless ratchet like this, and I think this is okay. I mean, it doesn't have tons of torque or anything, but I mean, I don't see anything from DeWalt out there yet. But I would say really if you stick with one line or the other, you shouldn't have any problems at all. It's just that I don't like this kind of battery. I prefer this kind, where at least you can have it stand up. And yeah, these are a lot more compact. And I guess that was the marketing behind it, sell the stuff that's looks compact and talk everybody into believing how sleek this looks and that kind of thing. But when it comes down to practicality, yeah, I like my tools standing up rather than laying down, especially when they fall over and if it's wet or greasy or that kind of stuff. So I'll show you my DeWalt tools that I have, and these are the only 3 that are left. I'll keep this one in the city, and these 2, well, they'll be heading up north. Okay, so let's start off on the right here. I got my angle grinder, and this is my multi-tool. I've just shown that recently, and my impact driver for 1/4 inch hex bits, the flashlight, and this flashlight is just like, super bright. And we got the 1/2 inch drill, the new 3/8 drill, my reciprocating saw, and the big boy here. This is my 1/2 inch impact, and that just stays in the back of my truck all the time in case I get a flat tire and that kind of stuff, or helping somebody else with a flat tire. And you can obviously tell there's a huge difference between the 12 volt battery and the 20 volt. They're non-interchangeable. You just can't think, okay, I'm going to snap it into the flashlight or something. No, it doesn't work like that. But they charge on the same platform. So the one thing that I would say that I've noticed over time is I do not need any 5 amp batteries or big, huge batteries for the majority of the time that I'm using some tools. The only tools that you need like a big battery for would be the grinder, the reciprocating saw, and the 1/2-inch impact. Unless you're building like a whole deck or something, well, yeah, the impact driver itself, you know, for putting in 3-inch screws, you know, you got to have like a bigger battery, or you're going to be changing batteries a lot. So my thoughts on the batteries are, well, to tell you the truth, I think we're getting hosed with buying these big batteries all the time because, well, they just don't last. If you just do a little bit of searching on the internet yourself, and you'll find out that the average lifespan of these batteries is about 5 years that they will deliver, you know, the same amount of performance as when you bought them. And then they start to go downhill from then. And I have noticed the exact same thing myself. And, you know, if you're going to buy, take for instance, you take a look at this battery here. You go buy yourself a 5 amp battery, see how much they cost. And then take a look at say a smaller one, like, you know, a 1.3 amp DeWalt, or a 2 amp, or even a 3 amp. And I mean, this one here, that one there is a 1.3 amp, I believe, on this tool. And it is about, well, less than half the price of a 5 amp over here. So what are my thoughts on the batteries, and what are my thoughts on these power tool companies? Are they making power tools, or are they making batteries? In my opinion, I think the power tool companies that are selling all these cordless power tools, no matter which brand, I think that they're all pretty much, you know, high quality stuff. But I believe that the marketing behind it is made to suggest that you always need more instead of less. So when we take a look at a small little battery like this on my 3/8 drill that I purchased, well, it's not very big, right? You know, and everybody's kind of sold on buying bigger is better kind of thing. But you know what? This is going to end up having to be replaced in the same amount of time as a 5 or even a higher amperage battery over time. So I mean, for me to have everything invested in 5 amp and up, well, that could be like $1,000 in batteries. And for the majority of the time, what are they doing? They're just sitting right there. How many do-it-yourselfers are out there in your garage every day using your tools? If you're a skilled tradesperson, it's a whole different subject. It's a whole different subject, right? Time is money. And the last thing you want to do is spending time charging batteries, or, you know, not being productive because, you know, your tool just can't produce the amount of work that's needed. But for the average homeowner, I was surprised to find out that the power tool companies themselves are suggesting through their surveys that the average tool that is sold to the public is used 2 hours a year. Now imagine that, 2 hours a year. So I started to think, how often do I use some of my tools? Well, I use my drill. My drills I use a lot. I don't use the impact driver hardly ever at all. I don't think I've got, say, all of last year, maybe 20 minutes rotating tires. And that's about it. My Sawzall, maybe, I'm lucky if I got maybe an hour out of it. So I mean, in reality, I think the power tool manufacturers are correct. But are they designing the tools to only be used 2 hours a year? I don't believe so. I believe that they're actually making some pretty good stuff out there. And if I'm only going to use it for 2 hours a year, I mean, to buy a 5 amp battery for something that I'm going to use for 2 hours, I can get 2 hours out of any 5 amp battery, right? So, yeah, the marketing is ingenious out there, how they market everything. But overall, if you're thinking about buying a a brand, a specific brand. Doesn't matter if it's Milwaukee or if it's Bosch or, you know, it doesn't matter which brand, Metabo, and all of them are good. But you pretty much today, the way their marketing is going on, they kind of force you to stick with their brand because of the cost of the batteries. And I think that's ingenious on their part. It's great marketing. I mean, it prevented me from buying more Milwaukee stuff because it was so cost prohibitive. I might as well just buy another DeWalt. So, you know, when you think about it, I mean, I could have bought a kit that had all these tools in it for probably 40% less than what I've done over the years buying them in individual pieces. Now, I did buy the Milwaukee kit in the beginning. I thought that was a good choice. But, yeah, I didn't really care for their batteries too much, you know, with the slim 12-volt design that just falls over all the time. No, I got no time for that, right? So thanks for joining me here today. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of a demonstration and, you know, and how I'm sharing my thoughts on power tool manufacturers and how they're selling you into an idea and, you know, and what you need and what you don't need. What's entirely up to you, what you need and don't need. And for the average do-it-yourselfer, I bet you found that interesting about the average do-it-yourselfer only uses a power tool about, on average, 2 hours a year. So thanks for joining me here today. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and get some real reviews of somebody that buys the tools themselves, uses them themselves, and reviews them themselves. Cheers.